The story of Pablo Escobar, often called the King of Cocaine, is a tale of ambition, power, violence, and eventual downfall. Escobar's rise to prominence as the leader of the Medellin Cartel made him one of the wealthiest and most dangerous drug lords in history. Between the 1970s and his death in 1993, Escobar's empire reshaped Colombia's social, economic, and political landscape while leaving behind a legacy of terror and intrigue. Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1, 1949, in Rionegro, Colombia, into a modest family. Ambitious from a young age, he reportedly engaged in petty criminal activities, such as stealing gravestones and smuggling contraband, before turning to drug trafficking in the early 1970s. Escobar's entry into the cocaine trade coincided with the rising demand for the drug in the United States, and he quickly saw an opportunity to build an empire. By the late 1970s, Escobar had co-founded the Medellin Cartel, which became one of the most powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. The cartel controlled the majority of cocaine smuggled into the United States, dominating the market through its vast network of production, transportation, and distribution. Escobar's operation was highly organized, employing thousands of people, including chemists, pilots, smugglers, and assassins. At its peak, the Medellin Cartel was smuggling over 15 tons of cocaine per day into the United States, generating billions of dollars annually. Escobar's wealth was almost unimaginable. Forbes magazine listed him as one of the richest men in the world during the 1980s, with an estimated net worth of $30 billion. His fortune enabled him to live a lavish lifestyle, owning sprawling estates like Hacienda Nápoles, which featured a private zoo, luxury cars, and even a personal airport. However, Escobar's wealth also funded his ambition to control Colombia's political and social structures. Escobar's influence extended into politics, where he sought to position himself as a populist leader. He cultivated an image of a Robin Hood-like figure by funding housing projects, schools, and soccer fields in poor neighborhoods. This earned him significant support from marginalized communities, who viewed him as a benefactor. However, his attempts to legitimize his power were met with resistance, especially from the Colombian government and international authorities. In the 1980s, Escobar's reign turned increasingly violent, as he faced growing pressure from law enforcement and rival cartels. When Colombia's government, under pressure from the United States, began pursuing extradition treaties to send drug lords to the US for trial, Escobar declared war. His slogan, Plata o Plomo, silver or lead, encapsulated his approach: bribe officials or face death. Judges, politicians, police officers, and journalists who opposed him were targeted, leading to thousands of deaths. Escobar's campaign of terror reached its peak in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He ordered bombings, assassinations, and kidnappings to intimidate his enemies and assert his dominance. Notably, he was linked to the 1989 bombing of Avianca Flight 203, which killed 110 people, and the storming of Colombia's Palace of Justice in 1985, an attack that resulted in the deaths of over 100 people, including many Supreme Court justices. The Colombian government, with support from the United States, launched an all-out effort to dismantle the Medellin Cartel. This included forming specialized units like the Search Block and collaborating with rival cartels, such as the Cali Cartel, as well as paramilitary groups known as Los Pepes, people persecuted by Pablo Escobar. The campaign was relentless, and Escobar's empire began to crumble under the weight of constant raids, arrests, and betrayals. In 1991, Escobar negotiated a controversial deal with the Colombian government, surrendering under the condition that he would not be extradited to the United States. He was allowed to build his own prison, La Catedral, which was more of a luxury estate than a correctional facility. However, Escobar's continued criminal activities from within La Catedral led the government to attempt transferring him to a conventional prison. In 1992, Escobar escaped, setting off a massive manhunt. For over a year, Escobar evaded capture, relying on his network of loyalists and his ability to disappear into the urban landscape of Medellin. However, his isolation grew as the government intensified its efforts and his former allies turned against him. On December 2, 1993, Escobar's location was finally pinpointed in a middle-class neighborhood in Medellin. In a dramatic rooftop chase, Colombian authorities, with the help of US intelligence, engaged Escobar in a firefight. He was shot and killed, marking the end of his reign. Escobar's death symbolized the collapse of the Medellin Cartel and a significant victory in the war on drugs. However, his legacy continues to cast a long shadow. The power vacuum left by his demise was quickly filled by rival cartels, leading to continued violence and instability in Colombia. The allure of Escobar's story, a mix of power, wealth, and infamy, has ensured his place in popular culture, with numerous books, films, and series exploring his life and impact. The story of Pablo Escobar is a cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition and the lure of illicit wealth can wreak havoc on society. While his criminal empire was dismantled, the challenges posed by drug trafficking and organized crime persist, underscoring the complexities of the global drug trade and its far-reaching consequences.